Mushoku Tensei Season 2 really has slowed down quite a bit in comparison to Season 1. Back then, Rudius was fighting wild beasts in a dangerous environment. Now he's on the quest for the Golden Viagra. In Season 1, we explored a savage continent where Rudius almost died to Kaido's grandfather, and now we're playing Home Tycoon, while watching Rudius go through the most dangerous battle of them all, marriage. Honestly, a rematch with Ornstead sounds easier. Yeah, in this season, Rudius is getting married. And after clearly having learned from his past experiences, he's making sure to tie this one down as quickly as possible. Even if the person he's marrying might as well be a cardboard cutout of every shy childhood friend ever, but hey! Actually, there's no but. Sophie just sucks. But at least the slower pace of this season does allow us to spend more time with the characters that were recently introduced. It's easy to forget given how much time we spend with Rudius, but Mushoku Tensei really does have a cast filled with a ton of great side characters. There's Elianise, who's a genuinely really interesting and unique character. Badi Gadi, the definition of chadliness. Nanahoshi, who's currently experiencing how it feels to play League of Legends. Not you. Sylphie, who's... But among all the side characters, there is one who is simply better than the rest. A man chadlier than Badi Gadi, more complex than Elianise, and with a sadder backstory than Nanahoshi. This man is of course none other than Zanoba. As Rudy's right-hand man and first apprentice, we become quite accustomed to Zanoba. A blessed child born with extreme strength and an unbreakable body. Third Prince of Chiron, Slayer of Fourth Princess, and Lover of Figures. Zanoba is just about the best character in the entirety of Mushoku Tensei. I mean, come on, just look at him. How could you not love this adorable little figure-loving, head-ripping freak of nature? He's just a silly little guy. A little guy who will absolutely rip your head off if you aren't careful, but who's focusing on that? No, Zanoba has been the best and most relatable character in this series since day one. Remember that time Lilia and her child were kidnapped? Along with a family of just about every guard who worked in the royal court? Also, Pax could blackmail Roxy to become his sex slave? Yeah, a pretty screwed up situation, but do you remember who resolved that mess? Not Rudy. No, he got himself trapped almost immediately. No, the savior of that whole situation was the GOAT, Zanoba, who, after finding out that Rudius was the maker of his favorite figurine, heroically stepped in and ended this abhorrent plot from his brother, threatening to tear his head off if he didn't stop at once. And honestly, Zanoba, you can go ahead with that one. I don't think anyone will miss him. But that was just the start of Zanoba's heroic tale, as before leaving he had Rudius accept him as his apprentice in the art of making figurines. The next time we meet Zanoba, he improves on what we've already seen and once again saves Rudy out of a hard situation. This time from a life as a social outcast. You see, Rudy had just arrived at the University of Magic and is already feeling a bit awkward after having essentially humiliated one of their top students within seconds. This is especially bad given Rudius's prior experiences with schools, so old anxieties start creeping back into Rudy's mind. Because let's be honest, who would ever want to be friends with Rudius Grey Rat? With his good looks and his magical prowess. I mean, who even cares about that? His experience as an adventurer and long hair. Yes, long hair. Who would ever want to be friends with someone who has long hair? Long, majestic hair that makes him look almost like the Greek god Apollo, with how he lights up a room with his... Anyway, now, as we have established, Rudius is completely unlovable and would never have made any friends on his own. But out of the darkness, a hero appears. The god, the legend, the absolute GOAT! Zanoba walks right up to Rudius and declares him as his friend, as well as his master. This lone action of compassion and heroism is the only reason Rudius ever made any friends at all. But that is not all, because in letting Rudius teach Zanoba how to craft figures, he was able to get Rudy's mind off of his own problems. Truly, Zanoba is the greatest friend a person could ever ask for, but that is not the only thing he is. He is also known for his vast empathy, like when he saved this slave girl from her cellar, as well as when Zanoba let the beast women win over him in a duel, and let them break his favorite figure. Man, it was so empathetic of Zanoba to let the beast women believe that they actually stood a chance against someone as powerful as him. Truly, he is a saint, and he just keeps proving himself as such throughout Season 2. Now, I am going to share something with you that you will probably not have picked up on your own. But this is actually a secret, so you'll have to promise me not to tell anyone else, okay? No, seriously, this is important. I need you to go into the comments right now and type, "I promise not to tell anyone." And while you're down there, you might as well click like and subscribe, as well as join the Discord in the description. Let's go! The secret that I am about to tell you is that none of Rudius's accomplishments in Season 2 are actually his own accomplishments. Because you see, and bear in mind, this is top secret information from the cult of Zanoba that I'm about to share with you. But throughout Season 2, every time you see Rudius accomplishing something, most of the time, it was actually Zanoba who made it possible, or even accomplished the feat for Rudius. Let's run down the list. His relationship with Sylphie. Just by being around our great Lord Zanoba, Rudius was able to absorb some of his charisma and confidence that's constantly emanating from Zanoba. And considering that Sylphie basically just has one character trait, that being low self-esteem, it's no wonder that the scraps of Zanoba's confidence that were picked up by Rudius was enough to have Sylphie howling. Then, when Rudius bought his first house and needed help clearing it of ghosts, who did he call for help? Well, Zanoba, of course. And some red-haired dork. Hi, this is Editing Jinxed, and all my friends keep telling me that this guy doesn't actually have red hair, and it's actually kind of like brown, blackish, but like, I don't believe that. Like, that's stupid, I don't believe that, so I'm just gonna keep calling him red-haired bitch, because that's what he is.
Hey, Jinxed, we gotta go now, or we'll be late to your doctor's appointment.
Oh yeah, shit, what's the appointment for again?
They're going to check you for color blindness.
The fuck is color blindness? But actually, while we're here, can we talk about how Zanoba brought a fucking club to fight the ghost? Like, Rudius and the red-haired dork have holy magic spells, so I can definitely see them doing some damage to undead and ghostly things. But not Zanoba! No, he brought nothing but a stick and a dream! If Pokemon has taught me anything, then it's that normal attacks don't tend to work against ghosts. But this man just doesn't care! He's gonna play whack-a-mole with this ghost and smack it all the way back to hell! You know what's crazy? It fucking works! Not only was Zanoba the only one to actually get a good hit in on the ghost, Zanoba then goes on to tank the entire barrage of attacks thrown by the ghost for no other reason than because he fucking can! This man isn't just built different, he's on a whole-ass alternative construction site! Zanoba looked at the Pokemon effectiveness chart and said, nah, I'd win, as he effortlessly demolishes the ghost. This is the type of shit we make religions out of. But, of course, when you look at it a little bit closer, you would realize that it wasn't a ghost, but actually a doll. Which makes way more sense, because as we all know, Zanoba type is super effective against doll type. But this is far from Zanoba's greatest feat. Remember when Rudius killed the dragon? Did you really think he did that by himself? No, of course not, because you see, if you actually zoom into the background of the fight between Rudius and the dragon, you can actually see Zanoba in the distance. Why is he here, you may ask? Well, to help Rudius defeat the dragon, of course. How is he here, you may ask? That's not important, because you see, Zanoba constantly gives off fumes of pure chatliness. These might be hard for a human to pick up on, but with the enhanced sense of smell from a dragon, it would be impossible not to be enchanted by such an alluring smell, which made the dragon look away from Rudius and at Zanoba for just a second. But that second is all Zanoba needed, because as soon as the dragon laid its eyes on Zanoba, it was blinded by his majestic bowl cut. Because you see, if this was a normal bowl cut, the dragon would have easily looked away, but this particular bowl cut was just so perfect, so round, so majestic, that for a second, the dragon forgot that it was in a battle, and envisioned a simpler time, a time where he also had a majestic bowl cut. A time when he went to school with all the other lizards who also had bowl cuts. And a time where... Most people believe that Rudeus was the one who knocked down the Demon King Barigari. But what they don't realize is that off in the distance, once again, Zanoba was actually standing in the background, intimidating Barigari by using his stand. Yes, Zanoba is a stand user, by the way. Wonder of You, which completely controls inevitability and affects the world around him to make it so that events that Zanoba wants to have happen do in fact take place. Did you not find it strange that a 15-year-old Rudeus, who couldn't even defeat a dragon on his own, was able to injure the Demon King himself? Well, it almost seems like an impossibility. And it would have been if Zanoba hadn't made it an absolute inevitability with the power of Wonder of You. This is why the Demon King did not wish to fight Rudeus, because the Demon King Barigari realized the power that Zanoba had and knew that fighting Rudeus would only mean his own death. This is the power of our great Lord Zanoba, a great power that would be terrifying in the wrong hands, but thankfully, it isn't. Because Zanoba is a great person, and more importantly, a fantastic friend. Because you see, Zanoba isn't just strong because he's physically powerful. He's strong because he has a great mindset. Have you ever had something that you really wanted to do, but when you first tried it, you kinda sucked at it? Of course you have. I mean, it's a part of being human. For instance, I've always been fascinated by video editing. Back when I was younger, I used to play around with PowerPoints, making flashy presentations, animating movements so things would look cooler, and overworking my presentation until the teacher would have to physically drag me away from the computer. I loved doing presentations. It felt like I was a god over this tiny corner of the universe, and I could create anything with my PowerPoint to help me make my point. Make people think or just laugh. So it's no surprise that when I later discovered video editing, I absolutely fell in love with it. But there was just one problem. I had no idea how to make anything work. I mean, look at this. What the fuck were you meant to do? What does this do? What does that do? I still have no idea what the fuck this is. And as the stubborn dumbass that I can be, I absolutely refuse to look up a tutorial. No, instead I just worked at it. I made videos. With every video, I would get just a little bit better, and I would try to innovate. I would do new things, and I wasn't afraid of taking risks. And now? Well, I'm not going to pretend that I'm the best video editor ever. No, that honor goes to Maxor. But considering that I've only been doing this for 8 to 9 months, I'm proud of it. It's this kind of never-ending desire for improvement that makes Zanoba truly strong. Zanoba truly loves figures with all of his heart and wants to learn to make them on his own. But unfortunately, he is literally too strong. Despite Zanoba's incredible physical power, he actually struggles quite a bit with magic, which makes constructing figures with magic not an option. This means that he instead pursues the act of actually carving the clay. Well, this time he faces a different problem. He is literally too strong. But despite this crushing setback and disheartening first attempt, Zanoba never backs down, and instead works tirelessly together with his newly adopted sister Julie to learn to carve figures until finally he does it. Zanoba defies the odds and creates a fantastic figure through sheer determination. Even after this, he goes on to study magical dolls to learn more about the subject. Zanoba is a true inspiration because he teaches us that we can never give up on something we love, even when we suck at it. Now, friends, I do hope that I have managed to convince you of Zanoba's greatness, and that you now are as enlightened about the true best character in Mushoku Tensei as I am. But, you know what? I don't think that best character in Mushoku Tensei cuts it for Zanoba. Actually, I believe Zanoba deserves to be revered as the greatest character in all of fiction. So join me, my friends. Join me for the great Zanoba uprising as we spread the great word of our new god Zanoba. Join our ranks by smashing that subscribe button, and then we shall show the world the true meaning of perfection by blasting our great god Zanoba's face everywhere. Stay jinxed.